Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the case of Clesslynn Crawford? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I will put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the incident, then offer my analysis. Clesslynn Jane Crawford was born on September 13, 2019, and lived in Baxter Springs, Kansas. This is about 15 miles west of Joplin, Missouri, in Cherokee County, Kansas. Clesslynn lived with her father, Eli Crawford, in a small camper which sat at 340 Wyandotte Avenue. Her mother, Taylor Shute, lived in Missouri, but would occasionally visit the camper to see Clesslynn. Eli and Taylor had a tumultuous marriage, characterized by frequent arguing. Now moving to the timeline of the incident. On Saturday, March 26, 2022, at 7:14 p.m., 27-year-old Taylor Shute called the Baxter Springs Police Department and whispered to the dispatcher, indicating that she needed help. Taylor wanted officers to arrive in a hurry because she was being mistreated. After providing the dispatcher with the Wyandotte Avenue address for the camper, Taylor put the phone down without hanging up. About 5 minutes into the call, Taylor screamed several times, "Get off me." Eli replied by indicating if Taylor said that one more time, he was going to end it for her. There were 4 officers on patrol in the area at that time, in 2 vehicles. At 7:19 p.m., they arrived at the small camper where 37-year-old Eli Crawford and his 2-year-old daughter, Clesslynn Crawford, lived. One of the officers knocked on the door of the camper, and Eli answered. The officer said, "Police department, come out here for us." Eli responded by shutting the door. On the 911 call, which was still connected, Eli can be heard saying, "You called the cops on me?" A few moments later, 2-year-old Clesslynn opened the door. The officer saw Taylor sitting on a couch in the slide-out on the other side of the camper. A slide-out is an extension that increases the living space in a camper. Eli was standing just inside the door to the left, and Clesslynn was on the inside to the right. Taylor stood up and started walking past Eli toward the door. Eli grabbed her arm, but Taylor broke away and exited the camper. As she approached the bottom of the exterior steps, Eli used a handgun to shoot Taylor twice, once in the head and once in the neck. Taylor did not survive. At this point, Eli started firing at the officers. The police scrambled for cover, but did not return fire because Clesslynn was still inside the camper. They called for backup at 7:21 p.m. The officers were able to maneuver back to their patrol vehicles, and they held their position. Other officers converged on the scene, starting at 7:37 p.m., which was 2 minutes after sunset. The response included several officers from multiple police departments, including a few who were off duty. At 7:48 p.m., Eli started firing at the police again. Throughout the entire encounter, he fired about 94 rounds using multiple firearms. Some of the bullets struck vehicles and nearby homes. Eli contacted various people when he was inside the camper. He indicated that if his sister picked up Clesslynn, he would bring an end to his own life. There was no way the negotiators were going to let Eli's sister go to the camper, even though she was confident that Eli would not kill her. Eli was not happy about this decision. He told the police that he had 5,000 shotgun shells and a fully automatic. He was determined to break out. It was later determined that Eli did not have 5,000 shotgun shells or any type of fully automatic weapon. While on the phone with a coworker, Eli introduced the idea of killing his daughter Clesslynn. A SWAT team in Joplin, Missouri was called to assist. Cherokee County had a mutual aid agreement with the town of Joplin. At 8:43 p.m., the SWAT team arrived, which increased the number of officers on the scene to about 30. One of the SWAT team members was a sniper, whose identity has been kept a secret by the authorities. He is only identified in official documents as Sniper 1. The 30-year-old had only been a police officer for 6 years. His entire career had been spent in Joplin, Missouri. For 5 of those years, he was a member of the SWAT team and had been the team leader for 2 years. Sniper 1 was directed to take a position 330 feet south of the camper. He was prone and next to a house. From his position, Sniper 1 could see a small window in the slide-out of the camper. Even though snipers typically work with a partner, Sniper 1 was alone. A two-person sniper team, referred to as Sniper 2, was deployed on the west side of the camper. They could see the door and a small window to the south of the door. The orders that Sniper 1 received were straightforward. He was authorized to kill Eli Crawford if there was a clear line of sight. Sniper 1 continued to observe the camper from his position. He had a night vision attachment on his rifle scope, but he removed it, believing that his target was fairly well illuminated. At 9:12 p.m., just after armored vehicles arrived at the scene, Eli was contacted by a SWAT team negotiator. Eli demanded that his sister be sent in to get Clesslynn, continued to threaten to shoot the police, and terminated the call. During a few subsequent calls, Eli made the same demand and the same threat. He continued shooting at the police. Bullets flew past Sniper 1's position and struck trees behind him. At 9:25 p.m., Sniper 1 saw a white male walk from left to right through the window in the camper slide-out. At least he believed that he was looking at a white male. The lights in the camper went out for a moment. When they came back on, he saw the male walk from right to left. Sniper 1 could only see a silhouette, but he believed he was looking at the upper torso of Eli Crawford. As it turns out, he was not looking at Eli's upper torso, but rather at Clesslynn's head. Sniper 1 fired a single round into the camper and fatally struck 2-year-old Clesslynn in the head. Eli was on the phone with negotiators when Clesslynn was killed. He said to them, "You just shot my kid in the head through the window." Eli followed by saying the words, "I love you," before dying from a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. The police entered the camper and found both Eli and Clesslynn dead on the floor. An investigation into the shooting was conducted. On September 1, 2023, the Cherokee County Attorney decided not to file charges against Sniper 1, saying, quote, "Given the imminent danger presented by Crawford and the split-second judgment required, a reasonable officer on the scene could have perceived Clesslynn in the window as the aggressor, appearing again to fire on law enforcement," unquote. This decision not to prosecute left some members of the community feeling confused and angry. Clesslynn's family filed a lawsuit against Cherokee County, the city of Baxter Springs, the city of Joplin, and Sniper 1. In November 2023, the case settled for $1.5 million. The city of Joplin paid $1.4 million of that settlement. As of the last update in this case in the media, Sniper 1 was still a police officer in Joplin, Missouri, earning $50,000 a year. He was no longer on the SWAT team. Now moving to my analysis. The position of the authorities who investigated the shooting is that Sniper 1 was not criminally liable. When he fired his weapon, he believed that he was aiming at Eli Crawford. The investigators implied that people were judging the officer harshly because a little girl died, and the same people would be congratulating the officer if his bullet happened to kill Eli Crawford instead. Some members of the public disagree and believe that the officer was guilty of a crime. His behavior was at least reckless. Before I weigh the evidence, let's take a look at the law in Kansas as it applies to this shooting. In order to convict Sniper 1 in connection with a homicide, the state would have to prove that his actions were intentional, knowing, or reckless. It's clear that Sniper 1 was authorized to kill Eli Crawford. Eli had murdered his wife and had been shooting at the police. There is no way that Sniper 1 was guilty of intentional murder. The real question in this case is this: was Sniper 1 reckless? If he was, he could have been prosecuted for involuntary manslaughter. That's the most serious charge that could be considered given the facts in this case. If he's not guilty of involuntary manslaughter, then he's not guilty of anything connected to homicide, because in the state of Kansas, there is no negligent homicide charge. According to Kansas law, a person acts recklessly when such person consciously disregards a substantial and unjustifiable risk that circumstances exist or that a result will follow, and such disregard constitutes a gross deviation from the standard of care which a reasonable person would exercise in the situation. The courts in Kansas have found that the concept of conscious disregard is what distinguishes recklessness from negligence. A person who is negligent fails to perceive a risk that they should have perceived. A reckless person perceives a risk but disregards it. This brings me to the question, was Sniper 1 guilty of involuntary manslaughter? Let's take a look at the evidence both for and against the idea that he was guilty, starting with the inculpatory factors. Sniper 1 killed Clesslynn Crawford with a single round from his rifle. He did not have a clear view of who he was shooting. Essentially, he only observed a silhouette. There is no way he could have known who he was firing on. Sniper 1 did not know what was behind the target that he was firing on. The type of rifle he used was not mentioned in the report, but clearly it was powerful. The bullet passed through the window screen, the window blind, the victim, the refrigerator, and exited the rear of the camper. Even if the bullet had struck Eli as intended, it could have killed Clesslynn if she was positioned behind Eli. Sniper 1 was aware that Clesslynn was in the camper. Therefore, he was aware of the risk. Moving to the exculpatory factors, Eli was extremely dangerous. He murdered his wife, threatened to kill his daughter, and had been shooting out of the camper for over an hour and 45 minutes when Sniper 1 took the shot. Sniper 1 and his fellow officers were in danger of being killed the entire time. Bullets had even flown over Sniper 1's head. Sniper 1 had a right to shoot Eli. Less than 3 minutes before Sniper 1 fired, Eli had been firing out of the window in the slide-out. This is the same window that Sniper 1 fired through. Sniper 1 did not believe that he was looking at Clesslynn standing on a couch when he pulled the trigger. He did not believe that he saw her prior to that either. Furthermore, considering that her father was shooting, it seems unusual that Clesslynn would be standing on a couch instead of crouched on the floor. Clesslynn was only 3'1". It makes sense that Sniper 1 believed his bullet could not hit her based on where he fired it. The bullet was fired too high in the camper to strike someone that short. When considering all the evidence in this case, do I think that Sniper 1 was guilty of involuntary manslaughter? In my opinion, he was guilty in reality, but I am not convinced beyond a reasonable doubt. I think a jury could have looked at this case and said to themselves, Eli was shooting at the police, therefore they had the right to shoot back. The death of his daughter was an unfortunate accident and did not involve recklessness. The reason I think Sniper 1 was guilty in reality is because he fired on a silhouette. He consciously disregarded a substantial and unjustifiable risk. I appreciate the position of the investigators and the arguments they made, but Sniper 1 should have identified his target. It was his responsibility to know who he was shooting. Now moving to my final thoughts. The vast majority of the blame in this case rests with Eli Crawford. He used his daughter as a shield, knowing the police would be reluctant to fire on him as long as she was in the camper. Eli knew that he was going to die that day, one way or the other, and wanted to do as much damage as he could before he did. All the officers who were put in danger showed incredible restraint by not returning fire. Well, all but one. Those are my thoughts on the case of Clesslynn Crawford. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comments section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be informative. Thanks for watching.